Welcome to Hero Villains. According to you, the fierce confrontation between Battle Beast and Lobo when two cosmic furies collide. Who will win? Battle Beast is a warrior with Viltrumite blood. Born to fight and die on the battlefield, he possesses terrible physical strength, superior reflexes, and endurance far beyond even the strongest superheroes. Not only strong, Battle Beast is also an extremely skilled close combat fighter, ready to rush into the blade to feel the sublimation of violence. What makes him scary is the madness in battle. He does not fight to win, but fights to satisfy his instinct. Lobo, who destroyed his entire race just to do homework, is the living definition of chaos. Possessing physical strength equal to Superman, immortal regeneration, immunity to all physical damage, and superhuman endurance, he is a brutal bounty hunter who uses everything from daggers to interplanetary motorcycles. Nothing is too cruel for Lobo. He is the definition of unlimited brutality. Before we dive into the analysis, please hit the subscribe button and remember to turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thank you very much. Thok, known as the Battle Beast, is a pure warrior who lives to fight and sees combat as his sole purpose in existence. With an unquenchable thirst for ultimate combat, he seeks out opponents he deems worthy, beings powerful enough to give him the feeling of being truly alive. For that reason, he has no allegiance to any faction. Sometimes, he is willing to fight alongside heroes to face greater dangers. But at other times, he does not hesitate to confront them himself just to satisfy his endless thirst for battle. Thok is one of the most powerful characters in the series, and is considered to be on par with Thrag, the supreme leader and most ruthless warrior of the Viltrumite race. In its prime, the Battle Beast possessed such overwhelming physical strength that it was almost impossible for anyone to stand against him. He had brutally destroyed Mark Grayson and the Guardians of the Globe while retaining much of his power. The sight of him unleashing blows of such force as to crush his enemies with a single swing of his arm. Even Nolan, a legendary warrior and the strongest of the Viltrumites and Mark's biological father, did not dare intervene when he saw his son so miserably defeated. Nolan was not afraid of battle, but when faced with the Battle Beast, he understood the line between courage and senseless recklessness. Thok's presence was a source of fear and bloodshed for even the proudest warriors. The Battle Beast had no command, and that made him an uncontrollable force of chaos, a violent storm that no one would consider before confronting. Battle Beast is one of the rare warriors who can easily confront 5 to 7 Viltrumite warriors at once without showing any sign of being outmatched. In a universe where individuals possess a level of power equal to destroying a small planet, Battle Beast is not only on par, but far superior. Although he does not possess the ability to fly like the Viltrumite warriors, that does not make him any less dangerous. On the contrary, Battle Beast can take down warriors who have performed such legendary feats in just one blow, leaving his opponents no time to fight back. Thok. He is often described as an invincible version of the Hulk, a cursed entity with uncontrollable rage. In his clash with Thrag, the strongest warrior of the Viltrumite race, Battle Beast had to endure thousands of devastating attacks that lasted for days on end. Thrag possesses such a terrifying level of power that he can throw his children away and create a violent explosion when they collide with others. Yet Battle Beast stood firm against every blow, unyielding, unflinching. Battle Beast stabbed himself in the stomach with his own weapon to create a balance for the fight. He refused all advantages, wanting a fair fight and purely based on pure strength. Although he eventually fell, the reason was not because of inferiority, but because of the serious wound he had created himself. It took Thrag nearly a week of continuous fighting to defeat Battle Beast, an unprecedented feat, as even Nolan, Mark Grayson, Conquest, and Alan the Alien were punched through the body by him in just a moment of unpreparedness. Thrag possessed a level of strength. He was tough enough to withstand the terrible heat of the sun for several minutes without melting. However, Battle Beast, the most bloodthirsty and furious warrior in the universe, could still fight on par, even surpass, when facing Viltrumites of a higher level. Even with all their might, the Viltrumites were no match for his speed, stamina, and power. Battle Beast was stronger than Invincible, Omni-Man, and Thetis, three of the most prominent warriors in Viltrum's history. Although they had once joined forces, with the help of the Space Racer, to destroy the planet Viltrum, Battle Beast was still superior in terms of individual strength. While he cannot destroy an entire planet on his own, he can certainly do the same to a smaller celestial body, through sheer strength alone. In Battle Beast's mind, names like Hercules or the Hulk are not opponents, but invitations. Hercules, the god of strength, is exactly the kind of opponent he has always desired, a divine warrior with an indestructible body and boundless energy. The Hulk, who is known as the strongest creature on Earth, is also the perfect target for the hunger for battle that burns within him. But even though both Hercules and Hulk can defeat him in just 2 minutes, that does not discourage Battle Beast. On the contrary, it is the challenge that excites him. For him, fighting is not about winning, but about finding his true limits. Every time he rushes into battle, his eyes shine with madness and satisfaction. Battle Beast will never back down. Whether the enemy is a god, a monster, or any other powerful entity in the universe, Hulk will give him the fight of his life that he desires. Thor is an immortal warrior who has fought for millennia against nearly every formidable entity in the universe he protects. From ancient beasts at the ends of the 9 realms to colossal destroyers in the vastness of the universe, there is no enemy that Thor is afraid to face. Therefore, it is inevitable that he will encounter Battle Beast, a legendary warrior who lives to fight. Battle Beast is not only powerful, he also exudes an overwhelming aura that even veteran warriors are wary of. With a set of close combat skills honed through thousands of life and death battles, he is capable of confronting any powerful entity. The way he looks straight at the enemy, fearless, unwavering, makes even those who have faced Thanos feel a clear threat. Every swing of Thor's hammer will be met with fierce fury from Battle Beast. Blood may be shed, bones may be broken, but neither of these two warriors will retreat. One side is a god of war. The other side is an invincible beast, but the Battle Beast will lose in time. But Battle Beast is not just a warrior, but the living embodiment of pure battle. A fierce force that cannot be tamed, bringing respect and fear to all who have faced it. I really hope you so. Subscribe to the channel will help us a lot, and moreover, you will see great videos every day. You are the best. Thank you very much. Lobo is the embodiment of eternal chaos in the DC universe, a warrior from the planet Zarnia where he destroyed his entire race only to be the sole survivor. With his immense strength, incredible physical durability, and almost unimaginable regenerative abilities, Lobo has become one of the most indestructible beings to ever exist. He can easily withstand attacks equivalent to the explosion of a nuclear bomb, or even punches from the Kryptonian Superman, known for his superhuman strength. Lobo not only survives these confrontations, but often smiles in the midst of pain. Every gaping wound, every bloody hole is quickly regenerated in just a few moments, making him virtually invulnerable in any fight. Lobo's healing factor is not passive, but occurs at an incredible rate. Whether he is decapitated, stabbed through the heart, or blown to pieces, his body will reform in a short time, as if death has never been a word in his vocabulary. This makes any attempt to kill Lobo hopeless. His centuries-long existence has made Lobo one of the most veteran beings. He has lived long enough to see civilizations rise and fall, has fought countless opponents on hundreds of worlds, and has shaken the galaxy with his rage more than once. Whether he is a ruthless bounty hunter or a reckless anti-hero, Lobo always enters battle with an arrogant attitude, a sneer, and an unwavering belief that nothing in this world can kill him. Lobo does not fight for justice, nor does he fight for vengeance. Born to sow chaos, Lobo is one of the most dangerous and uncontrollable beings. He has destroyed and overcome countless powerful opponents, including many members of the Justice League as well as powerful entities operating beyond the galaxies. Lobo can rival the Man of Steel. However, what makes him truly terrifying is not his muscles or his endurance, but his twisted and insane mind. While Superman fights for ideals and kindness, Lobo fights for pure chaos, because he loves to cause violence, destruction, and test the limits of others. Even when reduced to a pool of blood, he can still regenerate his body, stand up, and continue fighting as if he had never been injured. At one point, Lobo could clone himself into hundreds of separate entities from a single drop of blood that fell to the ground, rendering any attempt to kill him futile. He also possessed the ability to sense and track any individual he encountered, regardless of the distance between them. Even if his enemies fled to other planets or crossed multiple dimensions, Lobo could still track and find them. In addition, he was completely immune to all telepathic or psychic attacks, making it impossible for those who use mental powers to penetrate or control his will. Lobo did not need to eat, drink, or breathe. He could survive in the vacuum of space or the depths of the ocean without any hindrance. His intellect was also far beyond the norm, as he was able to speak over 17,000 languages, including ancient and lost ones. Lobo's will is so strong that it can overpower even Green Lanterns, whose power rings operate on pure courage and spirit. And if his body becomes inert, Lobo can still possess another body to continue his existence, creating an endless cycle of violence. Because he is immortal, uncontrollable, and so brutal that neither heaven nor hell can accept him, Lobo has been permanently banished from both realms. He is untouchable, a menace that belongs to no order and cannot be punished by conventional laws. Lobo is a being of pure chaos, and the arsenal of weapons and technology he possesses only makes that clear. One of his most notable vehicles is a motorcycle that can travel through time and space without the need for a complex guidance system. He calls it the Spaz Frag, a machine armed to the teeth with a variety of destructive devices. In addition, Lobo always carries 2 miniature nuclear bombs in his boots, ready to be detonated in the event of an unforeseen situation. He has personally created weapons capable of destroying entire planets with a single shot, but he shrunk an entire city and swallowed it like a snack, after compressing it into a compact sphere. Haha! Lol, he didn't hesitate to punch DC Comics editors in the face and even took out the author who created him, LOL. Lobo has waged war and killed gods in many different belief systems. From Poseidon to Buddha, none have escaped his bloodthirsty rage. Even gods who can manipulate reality, distort the laws of physics, or even nullify the existence of their opponents have been unable to stop him. He has traversed the heavens, sowing chaos, wiping out entities that have been worshipped for millennia. Lobo has also killed Santa Claus, butchered the Easter Bunny, and skinned the evil wolf cultural figures he sees as targets simply because they exist. To Lobo, anything can be destroyed if he feels like it. And if this world, or any other, gives him even the slightest chance, nothing can stop him. When Lobo really wants to do something, he will do it. There are no rules to hold him back, no morality to stop him. Even Hal's physical structure cannot withstand Lobo's brutal power. People often think that Green Lanterns seem weak, especially when compared to names like Superman or Darkseid, who often clash in destructive battles. Captain Marvel, one of the strongest and wisest warriors, was once treated harshly and unmercifully by Lobo. Martian Manhunter, who possesses the ability to shapeshift, read minds, and phase objects, was also shamefully defeated by Lobo. Perhaps worst of all, Lobo can kill people with something as ridiculous as spitting. Not a metaphor. It is the brutal reality he brings to anyone who dares to challenge him. Behind the tough, thuggish exterior of an alien bounty hunter who has wreaked havoc on thousands of planets, Lobo has a completely different side: his absolute love for space dolphins. These peaceful, gentle creatures, symbols of purity, seem to be the only weakness he never hides. To Lobo, space dolphins are not just companions, but sacred beings worthy of protection at all costs. Canary, accustomed to his relentless violence, is surprised by the practical and responsible approach Lobo shows. He works with her to repair the space shard, an ancient machine that restructures the disturbed region before returning to Earth together. Beneath the mask of a ruthless warrior lies a heart that opens only to those he truly respects, and it is that contradiction that makes him so attractive that no one can ignore him. A Battle Beast versus Lobo. This will be the moment when two beings who live for battle, who thrive on violence, and who consider pain an indispensable spice collide in a never-ending rage. Battle Beast, who has always craved to fight worthy opponents, will see in Lobo not just a target, but a long-awaited dream. A being who never gives up, knows no fear, and fights harder the more he is hurt. Every punch, every slash, every collision between these two massive bodies will shake the earth, blow up buildings, and leave cracks that stretch for miles. There will be no limits in this battle. They will tear the space around them, turning the battlefield into a place of smoke, fire, and the remains of what once was. Blood will spill, bones will shatter, muscles will tear under the weight of their relentless attacks. Battle Beast, with his brutal instincts and his close combat skills honed over hundreds of years, will constantly inflict severe damage on his opponents. He can cut Lobo to pieces, tear apart his opponents' bodies in a frenzy of killing. Even with Lobo's incredible regenerative abilities, having to constantly recover from injuries like having his skull ripped open or his entire body crushed is still a horrifying experience. However, each time he regenerates, Lobo will return with a feral smile, his eyes burning with madness and blood still dripping from the corners of his mouth. He will respond not only with physical strength, but also with an unbreakable spirit. Slashed, he laughs. Punched through a wall, he laughs even louder. It is this madness that makes Battle Beast unable to stop. He does not fight to win, but to let that opponent continue to stand up, continue to fight back, continue to test his pride and thirst for violence. Although Battle Beast is the embodiment of the indomitable warrior spirit, he faces an unbeatable odds when his opponent is Lobo. Every blow, every slash that Battle Beast throws with all his might, no matter how severe the damage, is neutralized by Lobo's absurd regeneration ability. He will not give up, will not retreat, even if every muscle is torn, every joint is cracked, and blood soaks the ground. But the longer the battle drags on, the more each passing second and minute becomes a burden to Battle Beast. Not because he is weak, but because he is facing an entity that cannot be finished by conventional means. Lobo does not fight for glory. He fights for chaos, for the insane joy of seeing his opponent despair. While Battle Beast always seeks a glorious death as the final reward for his loyalty to battle, Lobo is a man who has no concept of death. He was banished from both heaven and hell, existing beyond the boundaries of life and death, as a lone entity that lives forever to cause chaos and destroy anyone who dares to stand in his way. On one side is an ultimate but finite warrior. No matter how indomitable he is, his body and will still have limits. On the other side is an immortal nightmare, unkillable, unstoppable, and never stopping. And the winner is Lobo. I hope you enjoy this fight. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Follow me if you like. That's it for today's video. Thanks a lot.